Hi, my name is Joe Addabbo, State Senator for the 15th District. Welcome to another episode of Where Do We Go From Here? October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a time when we celebrate the survivors, we honor those who are affected, we support the research that moves us forward into addressing this important issue. And for those who may be watching who may be going through and navigating breast cancer or may know a loved one, please know you're never alone. There's help out there. We are moving in the right direction with regards to breast cancer. So again, you're never alone. My office, we do 2 free mammogram events every year at both my district offices in Woodhaven and Middle Village. We just did one yesterday at Middle Village. And I want to thank the American Italian Cancer Foundation for partnering with us. It's my understanding that breast cancer is the most common cancer amongst women in the United States, but I also understand that seen a reduction, I believe, of 44% since 1989. And why is that? Because we got great technology moving us ahead, and the research and early detection, I think, is critically important. We are really fortunate to have with us today 2 great guests. Dr. Rosa Nouvini. She is a medical oncologist at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center and working at Medisys Cancer Center right here in Queens. And we have here Racquel Chariah, right? Got it right? Let Your Light So Shine. She's going to explain that a little later. She's the CEO and founder of Let Your Light So Shine. And I want her to explain that later. But we're going to start with Dr. Nouvini. Dr. Nouvini, how important is it for a woman to get these exams, early detection? How important is it for them?
So it's critically important to know that you need breast cancer at the age of, breast cancer screening at the age of 40 and beyond, because when you detect your breast cancer early before symptoms develop, you have a chance for cure. And that's what we want. We want to extend your life as much as possible if you're diagnosed with cancer.
And if you're talking to your oncologist, you've gone through and now you're faced with breast cancer, what are the questions a woman should ask of their oncologist?
That's a great question. And what I've experienced in my visits with my patients is that it is a highly stressful, highly upsetting, and highly confusing time when one is diagnosed with cancer. And so it's really important that, at least in the initial visit, you have someone that you trust attend the visit with you, whether it's virtually or in person or over the phone in any way. It's really helpful for them to just be an extra ear, because there's a lot of new terminology that one likely hasn't heard before. And that person can start taking notes and writing down all the information that comes your way. And the important questions to ask are, what kind of breast cancer do I have? So there are several different kinds of breast cancer, and also breast cancer tumors that have not developed fully into invasive breast cancer yet, but are kind of precancers. So it's good to know if your breast cancer is something like ductal carcinoma in situ, which is something that hasn't developed into an invasive cancer yet, or if it's an invasive cancer, and there are several types, which are hormone positive breast cancer, HER2 positive breast cancer, and triple negative breast cancer. So I always get this question from patients as to, why didn't I get something my friend got for her breast cancer? And I always talk to them about how these cancers differ, and everybody's cancer differs based on their type. Their cancer treatments differ based on their type of cancer. So it's really important for you to know that. It's also important for you to know the staging of your cancer. So there's stages 1 through 4, and each of these stages has a different treatment and also a different prognosis. And by prognosis, I mean, how much lifespan do you have with the cancer diagnosis? And with that, it's important to know, what is your treatment? What are the different components of treatment? We have so many different types of ways that we treat breast cancer, whether it's chemotherapy or immunotherapy or pills. It is also important to know the side effects of your treatment and what you can do about those side effects at home when you experience them. We have medications. There's also complementary medications to help guide you. Another thing that's really important is to know that there's always a social worker as part of your team. The social worker is really there to take care of personal matters, financial matters, psychosocial matters, things that really impact you on your cancer journey that might not necessarily be medical related.
I want to thank you, Doctor, because it is a journey.
Yeah.
But again, nobody's ever alone.
Yes.
Now you work at the Medicine Center
Yes.
in Queens, Chariah
Yeah.
Hospital,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And they just have had great advancement in their
Yes.
cancer center there. Can you explain?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited about our affiliation. About 3 years ago, my colleagues and I and MSK leadership joined Medisys leadership in developing their cancer center. It's officially called the Medisys Cancer Center. And we have brought state-of-the-art cancer care to the clinic, myself, and we've hired a full-fledged cancer team consisting of doctors, nurse practitioners, nurses, social workers, patient navigators, and we are providing the highest quality of care. All the genetic testing and the treatments, everything's on site, and even clinical trials and complementary medicine like acupuncture.
Acupuncture.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
But you mentioned genetic testing.
Yes.
Explain a little bit more about genetic testing. I think that's important.
Absolutely. It's very important. So genetic testing is basically a type of testing that looks at genes that you have inherited from your parents and looks to see if there's any changes, also known as mutations in those genes. Why it's important is that there are some cancers that are related to gene mutations, such as the BRCA mutation, which many of you have probably heard of. And this test can be discussed with your primary care doctor. It's very important that you discuss with your family to see where in your family tree there is cancer and what type of cancer that is, whether it's breast cancer or other kinds of cancer like colon cancer or cervical cancer, etc. Once you have your family tree down, you can take it to your primary care doctor, who can then tell you if genetic testing would actually benefit you. If you do opt for genetic testing because it's beneficial, then it is either a blood test or a saliva test, very easy in the clinic. And when you get your results back, your primary care doctor can discuss them with you and see if other members of your family need genetic testing as well based on your test results. And the reason this is really, really important is that if you do have a positive result, then you would qualify for screening that would be different than someone that did not have a positive result. And again, the importance is we want to catch it before it develops into a very advanced and incurable cancer.
So a woman says, I have cancer in my family. Early detection is critically important, right? Genetic testing. But is there a lifestyle change that a woman can go through to maybe prevent or diminish the chances of breast cancer?
Absolutely. And this is one of my favorite arenas. There is so much that you can do. You have the power of preventing cancer and reducing the reduction in the risk of cancer. So one of the most important things is basically it's exercise. So exercise, there's been a lot of research around it, especially recently. A lot of data has come out that supports that doing 2.5 hours a week of moderate intensity exercise, which is basically exercise where you can say sentences, but you can't sing. So something like power walking, jogging, doubles tennis, even gardening. Or if you are inclined to do vigorous intensity exercise, such as running or cycling, that is recommended to be 1.5 hours a week. And that could really significantly reduce your risk of cancer and also other diseases. Another thing that's really beneficial is diet. So we encourage a plant-slanted diet, lots of fruits and vegetables. I always say eat the rainbow, minimize your processed foods and meats, red meat, turkey meats like deli meats, and also minimize sugary drinks. And last but not least, but something that most people have probably heard of is tobacco and alcohol. So tobacco, we know it causes cancer. We know that it causes lung cancer, but it has also been related to many cancers, including breast cancer. So we recommend completely abstaining, not smoking cigarettes or any other tobacco-related products. The other thing that is a bit surprising to a lot of people is alcohol consumption. So the research has defined and confirmed that alcohol does cause cancer, including breast cancer. So the recommendation is to drink as close to zero alcohol as possible. Now, I know that this alcohol is ingrained in our social behaviors and we enjoy it with our friends and family. So I always say, reduce it as much as you can during the week, enjoy it in social occasions, and maybe have a mocktail every once in a while.
Hey, that's a good advice. That's good advice. Dr. Nouvini, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. I have a question at the end for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Racquel,
Yes,
let your light so shine.
yes,
CEO and founder.
yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, explain a little bit about what is Let Your Light So Shine.
Sure. I come from a nonprofit and advocacy and community leadership background. And last year, I saw such disparity in the work that I do, all across of Queens, Long Island, Brooklyn, every borough. And the company was founded with that mission, to help those who are underserved, who may not have the same opportunities or resources, and just kind of use my community leadership style, my relationships, my partnerships, just to bring equitable resources and just opportunities across the board. So I do a lot of support for nonprofit leaders, small business leaders, even community leaders, just by, again, giving them opportunities, tools, resources, so they can see their own strength in the community. And at the same time, empowering members of the community through events such as toy drives and coat drives. And that's where my community partnerships come in. Over the last 10 years, just the human relationships that I've, fostered gives me that band of, productivity as well as resources to be able to share with the communities.
That is great. And Let Your Light So Shine has been around for how long?
Going on 2 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So
Congratulations.
the company.
And you're gonna help us out on my job fair coming up. You can have a table there. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, for today purposes, you're a survivor.
Yes.
And so congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
that's great. In your journey,
Mhm.
and every journey is different, but in your journey, what was the one maybe aspect that made you keep going forward or driving to it? Hey, I'm gonna beat this. What was that driving force for you during your journey?
Yeah. So I will say there was three
Okay.
reasons, if
Good.
I may. One, the most important was my faith.
Mm.
I'm a Christian woman, first and foremost. The second was my family, right? And then the third was just the will to live. I was diagnosed at the age of 40. I was the healthiest of my life. I was, top shape. I had just said to everyone, oh, I lost all the baby weight, 3 boys later, 26 years old, being my
Wow.
oldest. But at the age of 40, it just happened. I don't know. I found the lump myself, and it was literally right after my yearly visit. And I had just become a PTA president in District 26.
Mm.
And, just something felt a little strange. And I went in and I got checked, biopsied, and, all of the, traditional tests that they perform. And it was Martin Luther King weekend in the year of 2015. And I just got the phone call from my doctor. And I remember the first thing I did, which looking back 10 years later, I just got on my knees and I said, thank you. Right? We don't usually say thank you for the bad things in our life. But again, leaning on my faith, I just said, okay, this is going to come, whatever's going to come. But I know that my faith will get me through this, my family, my friends. It really did take a village. And just that will to live. I remember meeting with Dr. Seidman. We found out that Dr. Nouvini now is part of that team. But meeting with Dr. Seidman, he gave me my your plan of care, right? And I remember sitting with him just like this, myself and my husband. And I think, a little naive at the time too. And he said, okay, so this is what's going to happen. This is when, and everything. And I was like, okay, great. Thank you. I just became a PTA president. So how long is this going to take?
All righty.
Said it like that. And, because I was young, I had 3 small children. And that's what every single day, waking up and saying, God, give me someone to help. Okay, I'm in this situation, but give me someone to help. So every day I was in school as a PTA president. I never missed a meeting, never missed a day of school. And I supported the community. So by me doing that, it really made cancer this small and everything else bigger. Of course, it was a difficult period of my life. But again, the focus was on others. So I think that's what got me through it. And that will to live for my children, to make sure like I'm somebody's grandmother someday, to be, live a long life with my husband and drive him crazy a little. But, those were the reasons.
That is amazing and inspirational. It really is. And you prioritize your life at such a young age. So for a woman who gets diagnosed early on in her life, possibly, or at any point in their stage of their life, what advice would you give to the person who just first finds out that she has been diagnosed with breast cancer?
So I do want to say this, as Dr. Nouvini pointed out, and you also mentioned the keyword. Everyone has a different journey. Every single individual has different side effects, different, treatment plans. Everything is different. However, one of the greatest pieces of advice I can give is lean on others. It does take a village. It's not a sign of weakness to accept help, really just center yourself, lean on those who are showing up for you, and just take the time and prioritize your health, prioritize your wellness, take the time to whatever it is, whether it's your faith, whether it's your family, whether it's friends, because there's so many women who are not fortunate to have a village, right? I know many women in my life who have chosen to like go through it and just be a little bit more protective and silent about it. I was the opposite. I had, like I said, a tremendous community behind me, showing up for me. But the best piece of advice I can say is just, accept the help. Someone wants to buy you groceries, accept it. Someone wants to drop off dinner for you, accept it. Someone wants to come and sit with you and just talk, or even just hold your hand, because there's so many ranges of emotions that at times you're like, I don't want to keep repeating what I have to every single person, right? But take the time to really take care of yourself, know what works for you, lean on the medical team and the support that you have, because that, especially at Sloan, I will say this, my care team, my doctors included, but the nurses, when you look up, Florence Nightingale, like that's what I felt like. My nurses, they really just wrapped their arms around me and just, guided me, directed me, my family and friends showing up to take me. You also said something really important, which was always have someone with you when you go to the doctor's appointments and the visits, because I was like, they would say something, but either my husband or my band of sister-in-laws were with me. My sister-in-laws made sure they went to every chemo appointment with me, every doctor's visit. I was never alone. And I would hear, take vitamins, and they would say, no, the doctor said don't take vitamins, so it's really important. It's important for that. But again, just really allow yourself to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Listen to your doctors, listen to whatever it is your body's telling you. If something doesn't feel right, talk to your doctors. If you feel things are out of whack, talk to somebody. And I know it might be easier said than done for others, but
I think that's great.
Great.
I love the fact that when you got this horrific news and it's going to affect your life, right? How you focused on something or many things that were going to guide you through it. Faith, family, right? Down to bothering your husband. You had something to keep you going, the PTA, the school, right? So you had purpose. And I think that's important for women who understand are faced with this situation in their life. Yes, it's going to take a village, or and again, I encourage people to get involved with you in this journey. But that you also have that for that light at the end of the tunnel. What is it that's going to drive you forward? And I think that's very inspirational. It's great that you did that. It is, and I wish you all the luck with let your light so shine.
Yes, thank you. It's a lot of community healing and helping that needs to happen. And like you mentioned, that's my journey. My journey is to make sure that I give back to somebody else, because community showed up for me, right? And I wake up and I say, like, even yesterday, I had a really tough day. It was the Making Strides walk in Queens.
Yes.
And I haven't done the walk in a couple of years, but I ended up doing it for those who are not here, right? I had two friends pass away just a couple of months ago, under the age of 35. And I say to myself, well, not to myself, but you always, as breast cancer survivors, we also go through a very difficult stage when we see others who are no longer here. So we go through that guilt, or we're like, why am I the fortunate one? Why do I get to be here? And it was tough yesterday, because I get to see people who are in it. I get to see people who have survived it, and I get to see people who are, have families walking for themselves, right? And it hit me really hard yesterday. Um, but I took that and I was like, okay, that's why I have to show up continuously in the community. That's why I have to partner with the senator, because how do we spread messages of hope and, allow people to see, like, okay, listen, you can get through this. And that's what, many of us tend to be for others. So thank you so much.
You're still here because of the purpose. You have a purpose in life, and that's to work and help others. So we are at an episode of where do we go from here?
Mhm.
So that's our last question. And I'm going to pose it to you both. Racquel, I'm going to start with you. Where do you think we should go from here? Whether it be the state legislatively, funding, awareness, like you said, partnerships. Where do you think we as a people or even the government can go from here with regards to breast cancer?
Personally, what I've seen in the last couple of years, I'm actually doing a speaking engagement at St. John's University on breast cancer awareness. I think we need to start educating at an even younger age, right? Because we are seeing, and I'll let Dr. Nouvini answer that part, answer that part. But we're seeing a younger and younger, diagnosis, or younger and younger crisis in health. And I think we need to educate more. We need to let people know as well that I've experienced it, and I know a lot of survivors might. A lot of people tend to think, oh, you went through cancer, you had chemo, you had radiation, oh, you're fine now, right? You're good. No, that's really when the battle really begins. That's when you have to now adjust your entire lifestyle to all the changes that's happening because of the treatment. So I think that educating people and letting people know, okay, at a younger age, how to prevent breast cancer, how to take care of your body, how to do all of the necessary things to eat and live a healthier lifestyle. I think, funding, of course, is always, going to be a necessity, because we need more and more work to be done to get the research done for treatment. How do we get less invasive treatments, right? Like, I went through chemo, I went through radiation, and no one prepared me for radiation. I will say this, right? Like I said, everyone's journey is different. No one prepared me for the horror of my radiation experience. And I think so, again, education is the key to success, right? I think those are the two main things that come. Getting out there and spreading more awareness.
Of course, through
Yeah.
community events and walks, of course. Would you want to see it more in our schools, middle school, high school? Yeah, okay.
Even my son, I have 3 boys, right? And when I was battling breast cancer, meaning, the treatment itself, when I'm running to throw up because of, medication or whatever's happening, they were 5 and 7, and they don't understand, right? So, but they do understand the word cancer. So now my 5-year-old is thinking, mommy's going to die because Joe's mom, or grandpa passed away from cancer. So educating, even if it's not about educating the school community about, oh, this can happen to you, it's educating them from the full perspective of families go through cancer. Here's how we can support them, showing up and helping them with a meal. My brother, gave up the majority of his year, and he came here and he took the boys to all their swimming. That was, again, their life didn't have to stop because of knowing the resources that are out there. There's SIDS Place that work specifically for families and children, to just give them, a sense of normalcy, to celebrate still the life that you have while you go through these things. So I think those are some of the important ways we can educate the community. How can I help someone who's battling breast cancer? It's not always like, oh, do you need me to go to the hospital? No, how about you come and do my laundry? How about you, I had, and I'll just touch on this really quickly. So many people showed up for me, but again, not everybody knows how to help, right? And they thread lightly. But I had a very dear friend and my neighbor. She said to me, Racquel, I know you're a woman, you're in a house with, all men and all boys, this is what I want to do for you. I want to come and clean your bathroom
Oh,
for you
Say,
every week. And we would sit, but that became our little chat time. She would do that, and she brought me such comfort and joy just to know that somebody showed up for me. Somebody showing up for me just to say, hey, I'll do your pedicure for you. You can't go to the salon, I'll come and I'll
That's
massage your foot. I'll come and give you a massage. It's the little things in life.
Yeah.
So that's the
excellent.
piece.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
In the community awareness education,
Yeah.
I'm on the Senate Education Committee, and we'll see what we're doing currently and maybe improve it within the state. Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you.
Nouvini, same. Where do we go from here? What do you think we could do?
Yeah, I think so in certain communities, such as the ones that Racquel and I work in, I work specifically in the Queens community and the Harlem community at MSK. There's still an immense lack of awareness of when to screen and what the purpose of breast cancer screening is. We still have a lot of women that are not undergoing mammograms, and they're not talking to their PCPs about their family risk and potentially getting genetic testing. So I think we really need to do a better job at spreading the word that screening is not scary. It is something that's really important, and it can really save your life. I think the other components that can even start at an earlier age, such as in middle school and high school or even elementary school, is the lifestyle changes. Children are becoming much more sedentary. They're spending a lot of time on video games. Adults are spending a lot of time on the computer. And we know that movement improves life health, and it can also prevent cancer. So we got to get people moving around, getting outside and exercising, eating fresh foods and vegetables, and really having the power, getting the power to make changes in their life that can benefit their health.
Dr. Nouvini, thank you. And both, I want to thank you because behind that word cancer, there's the word hope.
Yeah.
There's hope for women who have been diagnosed and for their families. And I want to say thank you both inspirational. Appreciate the work that you do, certainly, and look forward to working with you going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you for being guests on Where Do We Go From Here in October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
Thank you both for your work and for being guests. I want to thank you all for watching another episode of Where Do We Go From Here. Again, my name is Senator Joe Addabbo. Thank you and have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.